G'day guys, King of Underworld here. I'm sorry for the lack of upload in the past few days. Thought I might as well mention now that it is coming to the end of term, like I said in my previous video. So work's going to be a lot more due, and therefore doing a lot of work gets me a bit burnt out. I'm pretty sure everybody has those days. So as long as you're willing to overlook my laziness, I'm sure I can make it up to you by giving you this brand new what if. What if Deku was Toge Inumaki? He is one of my favorite characters from Jujutsu Kaisen, and yeah, I got subtly recommended, and yeah, who knows, maybe you might see more JJK what ifs, because I love the series. Even though it's one of those hype shows, it's still very good, and I love the manga as well. So yeah, this is my story on what if he was Toge Inumaki. So we start out a story like any other story where a boy has just been born. This boy had green hair, green eyes, very similar to his mother. However, there was something unusual about his birth. The lights flickered a bit when he started crying, and the doctors noticed as they were cleaning him up that was born with a weird birthmark on his tongue and the sides of his cheeks, right next to his mouth. The doctors just thought, wow, this is quite unusual. Nurse, can you come have a look at this? As they call over, and everybody's surrounding baby, as it starts to cry, and some of the surrounding objects start floating, and some of the lights start flickering. It's quite. They all realize it's the baby's quirk. It's powerful. It's not dormant, but it's not active either. He's doing this out of self-defense. He's scared. As Inko, who is very tired, but says, "Please, just keep my son here. I'll calm him." As they rest the boy in his mother's arms, he suddenly falls back asleep, and he is kept in a very quiet state. As the doctors just say, "Ma'am, I gotta tell you now, your boy is very powerful. From what I've seen, we'll have to do some tests, but I think that we should just keep him under a surveillance for at least a few days." Now, Sasashi perks up after, being in the hospital with Inko for a while. Just goes, "So, you want to keep my son in this hospital and my wife in this hospital after they've just given birth? I'm sorry, but I don't see the logic behind this. Yes, his quirk seems to be very powerful, but he's just a baby. What's the harm? And please do not make me and my wife worried about his state. He's in perfect health. It's just his cries cause weird effects." As the doctor says, "Well, alright, but please, do give us a call if anything else happens, no matter what." As after Inka had spent the night in the hospital, she was able to get out of bed and go home. A few years passed by, and there was no strange incident. However, the birthmark had only gotten bigger as Izuku had grown older. As his mother decided to name him after the green hair in his kind nature, Izuku Midoriya. So as they're in kindergarten, Izuku was friends with a little rambunctious boy, Katsuki Bakugo. This rambunctious boy wanted to become a hero. He wanted to be the best. He idolized them, and he was Izuku's best friend. They were both dreaming about what their quirks were going to be. As, everybody was just going, "My quirk would be powerful." And Deku said, "I think that me and Bakugo's going to be the best. Isn't that right, Bakugo?" "You said it, nerd." As A few months later, an incident had occurred. Bakugo had awakened his quirk. His explosions are crackling in the palms of his hands as he goes, "Look, Izuku! Look! Look!" Izuku just goes, "Wow, Kachan, your quirk is so powerful, so cool. You could be a great hero." As everybody else is praising him, and, well, he's actually hugging his best friend for the words of encouragement. As, well, it comes around to one day, Izuku, well, an incident had happened. It was one that he tried to forget. But what had happened that day was, well, one of the caregivers was attending to him as she noticed that something felt off about Izuku. He seemed very quiet. As Izuku turned around, the caregiver just goes, Izuku, is everything alright? You've been awfully quiet." As he starts to speak, and that's when it happened. As he said, "Don't get it twisted," as, well, in one mere shock, his eyes grew wider as a scream of pain started to ring out through the air. The lady was screaming, "Ah! My arm!" Ah! As she's just trembling in pain. My arm, it's broken. It hurts so badly. Somebody get a doctor." As he says to her, it's like, "What's wrong?" As she would feel uncompulsively, well, inclined to answer, "My arm's broken. It hurts a lot, Izuku. I need to get to a doctor." "Okay, is there some way we can heal you?" As she was screaming in pain, her arm started to morph back into its original shape. She was still screaming as she could still feel the pain, but her arm was healed. And then she looks Izuku dead in the eye. It was you. You're the one that did this. You and that pair of yours." As the rest of the caregivers rush around her and say, "What's going on? What's going on? What happened?" "That boy, he broke my arm." As the caregiver said, as the caregivers just, the others were looking at it funny, and it's like, but your arm's fine." "That brat right there, he broke it then fixed it back into place. He was just speaking." As well, Izuku just said "speak" as everybody around him started speaking their mind unconsciously without them realizing. Eventually, then everybody noticed. As then they rushed to the phone. It's down to the effect of this. It's down to the effect of the quirk or of the curse. Ma'am, Miss Midoriya, can you please come down and pick your son up now? Like, right now." As she goes, hold on. What is wrong? Is my son okay? Is everything alright? "Your son's fine, it's just his quirk has awakened and it's causing a massive panic." "What do you mean?" "Well, we didn't believe it at first, but he had broken one of the arms of the caregivers, but it fixed itself back into place." And she's like, oh, Christ. I'll be right there. As, well, Izuku is rushed to the hospital, but on the way there, he was silent. He knew what caused it. It was his voice. Whatever he said became true. Whatever he ordered became the conviction of others. He was traumatized. He was his own mind was twisted to hate the notion of speech. As they get to the hospital, Inko would sit down in front of her son and goes, Izuku, tell me what is wrong. As he would shake his head, he would not want to speak. As, can he not tell me? As he shakes his head no. Then why can't you speak to me? As he was looking around and he saw a pen and a piece of paper on the desk in front of him. As, well, he jumps up to grab the pen and starts rushing over to the paper and starts writing down. It's your quirk. Why can't you speak then? Did it hurt you? As he would write down, no, it didn't hurt me. It hurt others. It's painful to watch. Am I a villain? Did I hurt people? As she would embrace her son and goes, no, it wasn't your fault. You didn't know. It wasn't your fault. As Sasashi joins the two and then runs over to his son's like, my boy, Izuku, are you okay? I heard everything. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. As Izuku was just sobbing in the arms of his mother, crying and bawling his eyes out. The doctor then comes in and says, Miss Midoriya, emergency request for quirk examination. Yes, this is my son, Izuku. He just awakened his quirk. So this was that case I heard about 5 years ago, eh? Well, let's take a look. As they examine him, they notice that the birthmarks on his face and tongue were connected to his quirk. They didn't know how exactly, but it seems to be able to emit a frequency and a sort of power that emanates from his mouth that seems to control people's convictions, will, and even, reality to some degree. As he would try to answer the questions as best he could, but he couldn't. He didn't want to speak at all, out of fear he might hurt someone again. As it rolled around to the testing, as the doctor would say, "Alright, Midoriya, I am back here. You don't have to worry. Just try and say a word at that block in front of you." As he would shake his head, as Inko would bow him and say, "Honey, please, just do what the doctor says. The quicker we can find out what is causing this, the quicker we can figure out how to stop it from happening." As the examiner just whispers, "Get him to say crush and direct out that block." As Inko just says, "Are you sure?" It's like, yeah, so behind very thick glass, it'll be harder to crack this glass than it is to break that box over there. As Inko just leans into the mic. Alright, Izuku, can you say crush and look at the box? As, he takes a deep breath in and steals his heart and says, crush. As the box floats up and shatters to a million pieces, crumpling together and just falling down into a compressed ball that splits apart as it hits the ground. As seeing this makes him duck down and hold his hands to his head in fear. As, Inko tried to rush in to comfort, would try and comfort Izuku as he just says, "No, stay back!" As Inko was flung against the wall, injuring her. No, why? Why was I cursed? Why? As all sorts of thoughts started to rush into his mind, as, well, some of them were answering his own question. Why were you given this power? Why were you born this way? It seems that the questions he asked himself answer based on logic and reality. He couldn't get the voice out of his head. He'd say, I, I'm too dangerous to be kept around people. I'm a villain after all. As, well, seeing her son in mid-breakdown and seeing as the, well, assistant went to go fetch a pro hero, the only one he knew that could handle this situation. As, well, Inko started to get a bearing. Izuku, you're fine. It's not your fault. Just calm down. Come to me. As he would turn away and hesitate, nodding his head in disagreement. Inko would say, honey, I know you're scared. So am I. But I love you. You didn't do this to me on purpose. You're not a villain. You will never be a villain. As she, well, hobbles over to where Zika was laying down, clenching him tightly. It's like, just breathe. Just breathe. As, well, they get Eraserhead out from his, well, patrol. They say, alright, this better be important. I do not want to be called out in the middle of my patrol for some random powerful kid that just didn't know how to use his power correctly. I got enough shit to deal with, let alone this. As he looks inside, so you're just wasting my time. I'm out. As he goes, no, Eraserhead, you need to see this. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. It's extraordinary, but dangerous. We need you here to keep him in check. My job as a hero isn't to babysit. I'd better be impressed by this boy. Well, it better be worth my time. That's all I'd give you. As, well, as the examiner sees, well, Inko against the ground, he rushes in. Oh shit, what happened? As he looks back at the playback footage while Aizawa is actually looking over his shoulder and was watching the feed, listening to a recording as, well, Izuku says, crush, and the box in front of him shatters apart, re-falling back together into a ball, compressing itself, and then dropping to the ground. What the? Is this telekinesis? No, it's different. As, well, he saw the boy was afraid of what he just did. He jumped back at what he did. He saw Inko try to rush to comfort her son, only to be flung against the wall as he said, get away. He immediately noticed. So, this is what I was called in. As he walks, as Inko is being tended to for her back, Eraserhead just walks down to Izuku and just goes, so you're the kid, huh? As he'll just give a bit of a confused look and a slight nod. Come on, you can talk, can't you? As he'll just shake his head. Well, you can talk, you just don't want to. As Izuku would nod. Alright then. As Ozawa's hair starts to, stand on end, floating upwards, and his eyes glow red. You can talk now. I've cancelled your quirk. You'll be fine. my power is to erase people's quirks. As Izuku would, look frightened. It's like, trust me, kid, I'm a hero. And after hearing that Aizawa was a hero, he said, uh, why are you here? As well, Izuku would just be shocked, as Aizawa didn't actually respond straight away, like he did, like the caregivers did, immediately, immediately following his command. Well, at least I can cancel it. Well, I'm here because I got a call from that guy in the white coat over there, telling me about you. Your power was special. It's, very strong, yet uncontrollable. It seems that you can't turn it off. That's why they brought me here. To nullify that power. However, if I stop, and let's see. Say wind. It's the only thing I can think of that won't exactly cause anybody harm, and if it does, I can cancel the effect almost immediately. As, Izuku would nod, and wind. As a huge torrent of a gale wind-like force whipped against Ozawa's face, as he put his hands over, his arms over his face, and was like, just with a single word, you're able to whip up gale force winds. Looks like my theory is correct. You can't control what you say. Well, to be more precise, you can't control what happens when you say a word. If you ask somebody a question, you see they have a compulsion to respond. If you give somebody an order, they would carry it out till the death. And if you said for something to die, it would die. As Izuku looked frightened. However, there should be an upside to this one. Words that don't have any meaning. Words that don't have any sort of negative consequences would be fine. It just seems that it's up to your imagination on how you use it. And Izuku is just giving a slight nod. Well, seems that this was worth my time after all. I'll monitor you for the time being now. However, I can't always be there. So until I can return or whenever I'm with you, please try not to speak as little as possible, even try to pick up sign language. Who knows, maybe you might find a friend or two that way. As the next day, Izuku returns back to the kindergarten, everybody was giving him strange looks. As they just started whispering, isn't he the one that caused that lady to quit? The one that was screaming yesterday? As everybody was just, bad talking Deku after seeing what had happened. Some even calling him a villain after what he did. It seemed, this reaction seemed to spark a fear in his heart of himself. As he would just walk away, not say anything back, as he couldn't say anything back. He couldn't defend himself, nor could he deny what had happened. He couldn't explain the situation, because explaining it would only make things worse, much worse. As, Bunko just comes and sits next to Izuku. Hey, Izuku. As, Bunko is just looking over his shoulder. What happened yesterday? As, well, he gives a slight shrug and is like, come on, man, you can talk to me. What happened? Well, Izuku brings out a notepad from his pocket and grabs a pencil. He starts writing down, I can't speak. Why, did you hurt your voices? Hurt your throat or something? No. Then what is it? My quirk is my voice. What happened yesterday was what happened when it awakened. What do you mean it is your voice? Whatever I say becomes reality. As Boku's just thinking, so then what happened yesterday? Well, the caregiver, um, the caregiver was asking what happened, and I responded with, don't get it twisted. Yeah, and, well, when I said twisted and don't, I was looking at her arm, and that caused her arm to twist and break. Wait, so that was all you? Yes. Are you afraid of me, Kachan? As Bucker just takes a deep breath in. Look, nerd, I'm not afraid of you. You're not a villain. You're not exactly a hero either, but you didn't. But hell, I'm not a hero right now either. What I can tell is you didn't do it out of malicious intent. You didn't do it by accident. Hell, her arm was fixed, meaning you helped her after, well, you got her into that situation in the first place. As Izuku just draws the notebook closer to his face, almost in shame, as Banco puts his hand over it and pushes it down. It was not your fault. We're friends, right? You can rely on me. As Izuku just started welling up with tears in his eyes. And, well, Banco just responds with his usual charismatic, come on, nerd, don't cry on me. As he just gives a warm smile. As Bakugo would try to explain what happened to Deku. However, some of his classmates would just think that he doesn't know what actually happened, or that he was tricked into believing the villain. So this caused Bakugo to be a bit of a social outcast. People would still listen to him, however they would not respect him in the same timeline. As we get into middle school now, Bakugo is as rowdy as ever. However, he wasn't as well, he didn't fool around as much. He didn't ever become a clown. He was never the bully, as his best friend was always one being bullied, and he'll stick up for him because of that one incident that wasn't his fault. As Bakugo just walks over to, Midoriya, and just says, "Hey, Deku, can I borrow your, can I borrow some of your notes in English? I forgot to take some yesterday because, well, you know what happened." As he would say, kelp salmon. Oh, sweet, thanks. As Mizuku hands over the notebook, and Bakugo just starts copying it down. It says, "Thanks, you're a lifesaver, man. What would I do without you?" As, Mizuku would laugh a bit and just say, and say, tuna mayo. tuna, kelp, potato flakes. As some people would still be weirded out by him even after seeing him do it for 2 years. One guy says, "Man, I don't understand how he understands him. You know, he just says, rice ball ingredients." As Bucko just said, "Well, you don't talk to this guy as much as I have to understand what he does." It's like, yeah, we know it. Yeah, you have that special best friend connection. As he just says, "Oi, it's not the fact that he's just my best friend. It's also the fact that you guys never actually pay attention to him." Hell, anybody can figure it out as long as they actually pay attention to his character. What he says, the emotion behind it. Hell, people that are mute can still get across their feelings, whether it be pen on paper. However, in his case, he's still able to talk, but not in the usual sense. Hell, he talks to you by writing. He goes out of his way to communicate in a different, concept to him because of you. So I'd be a bit less snarky with the attitude. It's like, yeah, explosion boy, we get it. You two are basically the power couple of the school. As Hizuka would just burst out laughing. Salmon. And it's like, oi, come on, it wasn't that funny. Hizuka replied with salmon. You're a pain in the ass sometimes, you know that, nerd? Bonito flakes. As then the teacher walks in after saying, "Alright, everybody, today we have got career counseling." As everybody everybody lets out a huge sigh. As he'd say, "Just kidding. However, today, I know you all want to become heroes." As everybody just starts going, "Yes! Yes!" As everybody starts cheering and shouting and showing off their quirks as, Izuku would be a bit annoyed by the sudden rowdiness as he would lift down the collar of his uniform and say, "Silence." As everybody within earshot, excluding Bakugo because, he didn't choose to put Bakugo under a curse. Everybody went mute. And it's like, "Doria, what have I told you about using your power in class again? I know it's powerful and all, and it might help me, but you can't just go using your quirk on other people whenever you like it." As he would just say, bonito flakes, salmon. As he just says, "Bakugo, can you translate for me, please?" He basically just said, "Yeah, sorry, they were just being a bit too loud for my liking." Anyway, it makes my job a lot easier. But speaking of you two, it seems like the two of you want to head to UA. As Izuku would just nod, and Bakugo would start giving a fiery speech about how he's going to become the greatest hero of all time, as everybody else was rolling their eyes. And at the end of the day, Bakugo comes up and's like, "Hey, games at your place again?" As Izuku would nod and say, "Salmon." "Alright, cool. I'll sing around about 6 o'clock. I need to do some shopping before then, so I might be a bit late. So I'll just see you back then." As you say, mustard leaf, salmon roe, salmon, Pickled ginger. Ah, okay, so you need to head... Well, you need to head home straight away anyway, so... I guess it works out good. As well. They both part their ways and... Well, for the time being. As... Well, Izuku was rushing along as he needed to... As there was something else on sale at the supermarket he was going to get before it sold out. He was rushing along. He decided to take a shortcut. That would save him about 5 minutes, and he would guaranteed get it in time. However, this shortcut seemed to turn into the longer route. As he was walking under the bridge, catching his breath a bit, well, Izuku would hear the sounds of metal sliding against the concrete as he would turn around and see a dark, looming villain stretching over top of him. "Hey, kid. I'm kinda on the run for a little bit. Would you mind if I use your body?" "I'm sure you won't mind." "Well, they won't suspect a middle schooler, would they?" It doesn't matter." As he starts lunging at Izuku, as Izuku his eyes grew cold and just really pulls down the mask. Well, not his mask, but he pulls down his uniform hood and from his mouth and just goes, "Scream." As a giant burst of sound erupted from his mouth. As the sludge villain is disoriented, it's like, what the hell is that? I can't hear." As Izuku would just say, "Bind." As the sludge villain is unable to move, and then he just says, "Now compress." As the sludge villain is just going, "What the hell are you doing to me?" As it's getting compressed smaller and smaller, as the villain's crying out, until it's into a compact cube that it can't move from, thanks to the bind. As it is trying to move away, as he'll just say, he'll look over at a little plastic bottle, as he would look at both the bottle and the sludge villain and just say, "Seal." As the sludge villain starts transferring over into the bottle, as he's been stuffed inside of it, as a hulking man started running around the corner. He's like, "Not to fear, I am here." As well, Izuku would quickly pull up his uniform, as he says, "Young man, have you by any chance seen a villain around these parts? It seems that he slipped away from me into the sewers. However, I reckon he's around these parts." As well, Izuku pulls up his phone and starts typing real quick and says, "Is this child ignoring me?" As he had faced the phone towards All Might and press the phone's auto read. It says, "Sorry, I can't talk, I can't talk properly. But I assume this is what you're looking for," as he points to the bottle in his hand, as he's holding up the bottle in his hands. As, All Might is looking in shock and is like, "Young man, is that the villain?" As he would nod. It's like, "My God. What the hell? You must be quite strong." "Yeah, unfortunately." He would type. As, almost just thinking, unfortunately. What, does he not like being strong? Young man, are you trying to become a hero by any chance?" As he would nod his head slowly. "I see." Well, looks like you have bright promise ahead of you. Well, I wish you the best of luck. But may I take that villain, well, I might take that villain into custody now. As I want to, well, I need to hand him into the police after all. We shall not let this villain escape. As he quickly types up as quickly as he possibly can, says, "Alright, I'll leave it to you," as he chucks the bottle into All Might's hand. He's like, "Sorry, I've got someone to run. Well, I gotta be somewhere." As he just pulls down his hood and says, "Accelerate." And pulls it back up as All Might goes, "Accelerate?" As the kid, well, as the kid he saw in his eyes flashes past, well, as a blur. It says, "What the hell is he?" He said one word, and he's faster than I can almost keep up with. What is he? As well, Izuku is just jumping up and down, jumping out up and down joy as he made it just in time for the sale. His favorite rice balls, pickled ginger onigiri, and some spicy tuna salmon roe. As he was dancing a bit of joy, he runs over to the cashier and pays for his delectable treats. As then he walks back to his house, also after buying a few snacks for him to eat with Bakugo. As well, they meet up later, and Izuku starts telling Bakugo all about what happened. As he goes like, "Wait, you met All Might? Man, he didn't get his autograph. Come on." As he just goes, as he just goes, "Salmon roe, uh, salmon, uh, bonito, tuna." It's like, I know you weren't. I know you were just trying. You needed to get somewhere, but come on. I thought we made an agreement. If we ever met All Might and one of us got if we both got a autograph from All Might, or one of us got one, if we got two, we would hand one to the other. Because I know you like Present Mike and all because you can relate to him, but I love All Might. As well, he just kept like basically bowing an apology. That's alright. It's good to see that you're not harmed. And this is where I'm going to leave part 1 off of What If Deku Was Toge Inumaki. I'm sorry for the recent lack of uploads, consistent schedule, but I was working on a few what if ideas that will be coming out in the next week and a half. So I'll be setting those up because I come into my school holidays after this week. So that's where I'm going to be pumping out a lot more content. So hopefully, yeah. And also, I was gonna make a bet with the subscribers who watch this video. But if not, go to every other video and comment this. But I was gonna make a bet that if by the end of the month, if I reach 1,000 subscribers, I would dye my hair a color of the channel's choosing. I don't know if that's gonna be set in stone or not, but if I do end up reaching 1,000 by the end of the month, that certainly will become a possibility. So I'll also put this on my Twitter as well, so don't forget to go check my Twitter as well. So, yeah. Anyway, I've been the King of Underworld. Peace, mortals.